Nice ink, Grandpa. What's that supposed to be, a fish? Laughter erupted across the Marine training gym. A group of young recruits stood near the weight racks, their voices echoing off the concrete walls. In the corner, a quiet old janitor wiped down the floors. His faded sleeve rolled up just enough to reveal a tattoo, a small trident wrapped in barbed wire, its ink blurred by time. One of the recruits pointed and laughed. Bet he got that from a souvenir shop in San Diego. Another added, yeah, or maybe it's a gang thing. Look at him, all serious like he's seen combat. The old man didn't react. He just kept mopping. His movements were slow, deliberate, too calm for someone surrounded by ridicule. Sergeant Miller, the unit's drill instructor, smirked as he walked past. Don't mind him, boys. That's Frank. Been cleaning here since before most of you were born. Thinks he's some kind of war hero. Leave him be. The recruits chuckled again, whispering as they went back to their routines. But one, a tall young man named Lewis, stared a bit longer. There was something strange about the way the old man moved, the way his eyes scanned the room, alert, methodical. Hey, old man, Lewis said, stepping closer. What's the story behind that tattoo? Frank looked up slowly, his voice calm but sharp. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, son, Lewis grinned. Try me. Frank just gave a faint smile. Not today. And he went back to mopping, the conversation dying under the hum of ceiling fans. Later that afternoon, during lunch, the recruits sat in the mess hall, still joking about the janitor. I swear, said Lewis, if that guy's a real veteran, I'll do 50 push-ups blindfolded. Sergeant Miller overheard and chuckled. You might want to start stretching, Lewis. I've heard rumors. They say old Frank used to serve, but no one's ever confirmed it. Please, another recruit scoffed. If he was a Marine, I'm the president. Look at him. He probably couldn't even lift a rifle. The laughter came again. It was all harmless, or so they thought. That evening, Frank walked into the locker room to clean, just as the recruits were finishing up. Their jokes carried across the tile walls. Hey, Frank, Lewis called. You ever see combat? Frank kept mopping. Enough of it. Sure you did, Lewis snorted. Bet your tattoo's just decoration. Frank paused, his mop dripping water onto the floor. For a moment, his eyes met the young Marines. Not angry, not hurt, just disappointed. You boys think respect's earned by who yells the loudest, he said quietly. You'll learn. Maybe not today, but you will. He left without another word. By morning, word had spread across the base. The janitor had snapped back at a recruit. When the captain heard, he laughed. Frank, that old guy? He's harmless. Probably just cranky. But later that day, something odd happened. A visiting admiral's convoy was spotted approaching the camp. The base hadn't been told to expect anyone. No notice, no formal alert. The Marines straightened up, hurrying to look presentable as black SUVs rolled past the gate. The admiral himself, a tall man with cold eyes and a chest full of medals, stepped out and looked around the base. Where's Sergeant Miller? He barked. Here, sir! Miller shouted, standing at attention. The admiral nodded. Good, I need to inspect your facility. And one more thing. Tell me, is there a man named Frank Carter working maintenance here? Miller blinked. Yes, sir, he's the janitor. The admiral's expression didn't change. Good, don't move him. I'll find him myself. The recruits exchanged puzzled looks. Why would a high-ranking admiral care about an old janitor? The admiral walked straight into the gym, where Frank was sweeping quietly. The laughter and chatter died instantly. Frank looked up and smiled faintly. Didn't think I'd see you here, Admiral. The admiral froze, and then, to everyone's astonishment, he smiled back. Didn't think you'd still be breathing, old man. Whispers rippled through the Marines. The admiral, one of the most feared and respected men in the Navy, was talking to the janitor like an equal. Still fixing other people's messes, huh? The admiral said with a grin. Someone's got to, Frank replied. Heard your new recruits are getting soft, the admiral chuckled. Then, in front of the entire gym, he did something no one expected. He rolled up his sleeve. On his forearm, faded but unmistakable, was the exact same tattoo, the trident wrapped in barbed wire. A hush fell over the room. Sir, one Marine stammered. What does that mean? The admiral looked around slowly. It means this man, he said, pointing to Frank, was once part of a unit that doesn't officially exist. The kind that did what needed doing when no one else could. Frank said nothing, His eyes were distant, haunted by memories no one in that gym could imagine. He trained me, the Admiral added quietly. Saved my life more than once. No one dared speak. The recruits who had laughed now stood frozen, eyes wide, guilt flooding their faces. The Admiral turned to them. You boys think heroism is loud. It's not. It's quiet. It looks like this man right here. Lewis swallowed hard. Sir, we didn't know, Frank finally spoke, his voice calm. You weren't supposed to. Most of what we did was never meant to be known. That's the burden, the Admiral nodded slowly. And yet he still came back here, to clean your gym, to remind you what humility looks like. He turned to Frank. You ever need anything, you call me directly. Understood? Frank smiled faintly. Don't make promises you can't keep, Admiral. The two men shook hands, an unspoken bond forged in the silence of shared battles. That night, the gym was unusually quiet. No laughter, no chatter, just the soft hum of the lights above. Lewis found Frank sitting outside, looking at the sunset over the base. Sir, Lewis said hesitantly. I'm sorry for everything. Frank didn't look up. Apology accepted. Just remember, respect's not given to age or rank. It's given to those who've earned silence when they walk in a room. Lewis nodded, eyes down. Were you really in the same unit as the Admiral? Frank smiled faintly. Let's just say we were in some deep waters once. The young Marine hesitated. And the tattoo? Frank finally turned, his gaze soft but firm. It's not decoration. It's remembrance. As Lewis walked away, he glanced back one last time. The old janitor sat under the fading sky, the tattoo catching the last light of dusk, a silent symbol of a past too heavy for words and a legacy too deep for laughter.